What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to This, That, and the Other. We talk about Detroit and Michigan State sports. Commenting today on Penn State and Michigan State. Yesterday, technically, when they played in State College, Pennsylvania. I did not make a video last week. I didn't see the Ohio State and Michigan State game. All I know is it was bad. I didn't get to comment on Michigan State upsetting the Duke Blue Devils in basketball. Right now, I'm just kind of focusing on the football. It takes me a while to warm up to basketball. Usually I'd say beginning of the year, when they get into conference play, this time of year, they start out the season with some really big opponents. Then they go, other teams you haven't heard of. And then you get into conference play. That's kind of when I start to tune in a little bit more. So I'm sure I'll talk about it at some point. And the Lions, not much to talk about. They have an outside chance at the playoffs. So if they win tomorrow, then maybe that'll warrant making a video. So not sure what's going to come of that. But my computer's not loading the stats that I want for the game today. Probably doesn't matter. Today was an interesting game. We saw a really nice stretch there in the second quarter where Payton Thorne, looked like Patrick Mahomes. And, he's just playing out of his mind. I stepped outside for a second to meet a friend outside real quick. And when I got it, it was third quarter, I think. Michigan State was leading by 3, and they were about to kick another field goal. I come in, and Michigan State was down 8. It seemed like I was only out there a few minutes. So that was just real. That was real disappointing that I didn't even get to see what happened. But they just kind of fell apart today. It was a lot like the Northwestern game, Northwestern game, they didn't play that well for a lot of the game, but they were able to play 4 quarters of football, where this game, they just fell apart in the later part of the second half. And, there was no stop. They weren't going to be able to dig themselves out of the hole. But I did think Payton Thorne had a nice game. I would like to see, he seems like he's got the talent to be quarterback for the future for Michigan State. I don't know what the hesitation is with the coaching staff. I think the offensive line has kind of been a low-key issue for the Spartans this year. They haven't, that's not like, it's not like one of their key weaknesses but it still is evident sometimes on key third downs that they can't even get a pass off sometimes. So it's a little bit disappointing. It's like I said, it's kind of a low-key issue in my opinion. I just thought, I don't know. This season has been confusing. And, I'm happy about the wins we got. But I guess it's still a disappointment, in the grand scheme of things, just because of what we're used to as Spartan fans the past 10 years plus. We expect to be over 500, and we expect to be able to beat certain teams regularly. This year we had more of a bottom feeder mentality from a national, from a fan perspective. Mel Tucker doesn't view it that way. I gotta say I still like Mel Tucker's approach to a lot of what's going on. There's been some flaws, I think, because I think I think that there's been some things, just like, nothing major, but, there's been some things that people have questioned. I think it's pretty normal of any incoming coach. They're trying to mix things up and figure things out. And, Michigan State, they're just kind of going through finding themselves, period. There's no guarantees about Mel Tucker. Again, you guys, it's kind of like, in a way, it's like John L. Smith, Oh, I've got to avoid this real quick. There's no guarantees about, like John L. Smith went 8-5 his first year, that's the trend I don't like to see, is when it's the worst thing when you see a coach come in and they have their most successful season year one, and then they they fizzle out after that. I'm really hoping Michigan State does not go through that kind of thing. I don't think it's going to, but we're still a long ways from being out of the woods for Michigan State. There's gonna, and it really sucks. This year has just really, really sucked, for sports and, life in general. But, I don't like watching. I don't really like the idea of Michigan State being a team where, instead of expecting to win, now we're thinking, hey, maybe we can win this game. But, Michigan State's going to have a crossover game coming up. It's probably going to be Illinois, Purdue, or Nebraska. And if they win that one, they'll be 3-5, which in my opinion, that equates to, at the minimum, a 6-6 record in a normal season, probably 7-5 season. Again, in my opinion, of course, you were going to play Miami this year. I don't know. They're ranked number 10. I don't think they would have had a chance to win that game. So I guess I'll err on the side of 6-6, but we would take a 6-6 record at the beginning of the season for sure. Everything that's gone on, and the recruiting has been pretty decent. I think again, exceeded expectations there. It's all about the big picture right now for Michigan State. No one really cares. I don't think that we lost this game today, to Penn State. The only game we really cared about was Michigan, and we were lucky enough to get that win. And, I am kind of ready for this season to be over for Michigan State. If they can close it out with a win, though, that'd be awesome. I would feel so much better going into the next season with a 3-5 record. I'm guessing, I've heard there's not going to be any bowl games, and that's fine with me. I'm just ready to get the vaccine and let's get back to a normal schedule for college football, college sports. Let's just get it done, and let's move on to a legitimate 2021 season. That's my, that's what everyone wants, right? But not much to comment other than Payton Thorne. What's the guy's name? Simmons. Had a really nice game today, I thought. At times, he had some real nice runs. I don't know why I can't think of his first name right now. Connor Hayward again. I don't even know if he played much today, but another kind of he's had some real big spots this season, but it's like I keep telling you guys, he's still Connor Hayward. He's still not. He hasn't turned the corner into being some amazing player. And I keep forgetting these guys. I think it's like Trevon Morgan or something. The 6'7" guy had a nice touchdown catch today. Hoping he can, kind of turn into like a MSU version of Megatron. Trey Mosley with a couple catches. Really, you look at that Morgan catch. That was pretty impressive. Triple coverage. That is kind of like something Calvin would do. So I think I can imagine why he's not getting on the field, I mean, it's not all about the 6'7" thing. I think he's probably a player you have to play in spurts. He's probably not. I don't think he's probably like the beast that Calvin Johnson is. Like, he probably just doesn't have, the physicality. I'm guessing he's a little bit more of like maybe a little bit fragile. That's just kind of the impression I get. I could be wrong on that, but don't come down on me too hard for that. I would really like to at least get to take a look at these stats before I hang it up here. Here we go. Let's take a look at the box score. Final score was 39-24, by the way. And once again, Land Grant Trophy, staying in State College, PA. Okay, so we have Sean Clifford, 17-27, 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now Payton Thorne, 325 yards, 22 of 39. A lot of those incompletions came late. 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. I do remember now that the first interception was pretty ugly in the first quarter. So it's Jordan Simmons, by the way. But yeah, first interception was just awful. That was something like what you'd saw Matthew Stafford throw to J.J. Watt or something. That was kind of on that level. Michigan State rushing, man. They would have been all right if Payton Thorne didn't get sacked so much. Okay. Jordan Simmons had 14 carries for 72 yards. That's pretty solid. Connor Hayward, 2 yards a carry. And then Jaden Reed, who's not really running back, 7 yards on 2 attempts. Jalen Naylor with a really nice game, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, 6 catches. Jaden Reed, 6 catches, 76 yards. Matt Dotson has continued to... I think the tight end game has improved a little bit over the past few weeks. Discounting the Ohio State game, I don't think anyone gets any credit for that one. But yeah, Trayvon Morgan with that touchdown. That was pretty impressive. I guess Kaylon Gervin got in a little bit on the offense as well. I got to plug in my boy Tyler Hunt as well, being from Gobles nearby. Still a pretty impressive story going from a backup punter to kind of a semi-legitimate, starting tight end. So we're rooting for you. It's pretty cool. Also, Jack Conklin was nearby as well, coming from Plainwell. So, he's one of our guys as well. Defensively, they really kind of, they just, they fell apart, in the fourth quarter. I saw some of those plays that they weren't physical enough in the fourth quarter. I saw, they had good angles. It seemed like the coverage was there. Most of the special teams were bad. The kick returns, those upset me a great deal. But it's not something I want to complain about too much, just because I'm really just worried about the fundamentals at this point. Special teams is important. They got to get that figured out. It's just not at the top of the list, for me. It might be overall, it might be their worst position group, but special teams is not as big of a part of a game. It's maybe 20% of a game at the most. So, you got to work on the offense and defense. Those are your two. Alabama doesn't even have special teams. I don't know how it is anymore, but I remember they were always, even when they were winning national titles, they were not impressive on special teams. Like, they didn't have good field goal kickers. They didn't have good coverage. They didn't punt the ball well. And Michigan State's starting to look like that now too. So they used to be one of the best. And so that's a little bit disappointing. It's just so early, you guys. I mean, we're so early in this process for Mel Tucker. just take a look at any position you have where you hire a highly paid individual coming into a position. If any of you guys have ever worked at a company that was kind of like mismanaged, and you see your boss get fired and they bring in someone else, and the new person is just like pulling their hair out trying to figure out how to make the thing work. That's kind of how I picture the Mel Tucker situation. We just can't judge the guy yet. Not at least next year you start to, okay, we just this year we're just making observations, on what areas they need to improve upon. I'm just not at the level of judging him for saying, hey, because if I was going to do that, I would expect every single position group to be weak based on the offseason we had. So the fact that we're able to have any kind of, success at all, I'm impressed with, and that's how Michigan State fans need to view this. Next year we can start saying, okay, he's had an off season to address these things. Now we can start to, say, what do we like and what do we not like to see, or what would, it's just a little bit, again, disconcerting. I've been seeing Facebook comments saying, the coaching staff doesn't know what they're doing. And, I've even people saying we need to fire Mel Tucker already. Man, you gotta, that's just not a rational response right now. It's never really, right or wrong. That's never really something you can say in year one, whether it's NFL, college, there has been coaches that have been fired after the first year, like the Cardinals. They just made the wrong decision, but that's not apparent with Michigan State. If you're one of those people who really think that, I'd love to hear why. Because while this team has certainly played far from perfect, they've exceeded my expectations. So that's one of those things I want to ask you guys to comment on. If what do you feel about the progress that Mel Tucker has made? Do you feel like are you kind of does he inspire confidence with you? Do you feel good about the direction? And for me, again, my position right now is we're ahead of schedule, but there's just, we're just starting down this road, and it's just, I'm leaning towards the idea that I think this could work out with Mel Tucker, but it's just so early that, I can't say either one definitively. That's my personal thing. I think that's the only way that you can view the situation for us right now. So let me know what you think about the game. And this was a disappointing one because we did play good at times. It wasn't a complete debacle. It was just a disappointing loss. A game that winnable game that, the whole game, it looked like a winnable game. And, now we got to focus on finishing the season strong and getting into some real football next year. So thank you for tuning in again. We'll have Pistons coming up soon. They had their first preseason game a couple days ago. And again, that's very similar. Those two are probably the most similar right now is Michigan State football and Pistons basketball. Both just completely hit the reset button here recently. So, just looking at the stats though, the Pistons, I can't even say anything about it. Everything I say is just going to be, okay. I will say Sekou had some nice numbers for the production, for the minutes he played. Let's hope that he is not, let's hope he doesn't let's just hope that he doesn't have that kind of, thing where he looks like he's checked out. He where he gets the ball and he just jacks a shot up. No one passes him the ball. And when he does end up with the ball, he just jacks up a shot. That's what I saw him do last year. He wasn't overly aggressive on the boards. Later in the season, we can talk about that another time. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to This, That, and the Other.